In this slide, we will be focusing on the main common vulnerabilities and exposures, CVEs, as of September 23, 2024. This webinar will provide an overview of the latest identified CVEs, offering insights into their impact and how they are being discussed within the tech community. We'll examine some of the most significant CVEs in detail, analyzing their real-world implications and discussing best practices for mitigating these vulnerabilities. This knowledge is essential for staying ahead in cybersecurity and protecting your systems effectively. Let's examine CVE 2023-4357 in detail. This vulnerability pertains to insufficient validation of untrusted input in XML within Google Chrome versions prior to 160.5845.96. The impact of this flaw is significant, as it enables a remote attacker to bypass file access restrictions by leveraging a specially crafted HTML page. The severity of this vulnerability has been classified as medium. To mitigate this issue, it is essential to update Google Chrome to the latest version. Keeping your browser updated is a fundamental security practice to protect against such vulnerabilities. For more detailed information on this CVE, including potential mitigations and technical specifics, please refer to the provided resources. Now, let's proceed with CVE 28-17144. This vulnerability relates to Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin knots. Specifically, it involves a remote denial of service that can cause the application to crash. It is exploitable by miners via duplicate input, which can crash both Bitcoin D and Bitcoin Qt. Like the previous vulnerability we discussed, this one also has a medium severity rating. To mitigate this vulnerability, updating to the latest secure version of Bitcoin Core is essential. Keeping your software updated ensures that you are protected against such exploits and maintain the stability and security of your applications. For more detailed information about this CVE, refer to the provided resources. On this slide, we are addressing CVE 2024-7965. This vulnerability arises from an inappropriate implementation in the V8 JavaScript engine in Google Chrome versions prior to 128.0.663.84. The impact of this issue is significant as it can lead to heap corruption through a specifically crafted HTML page. Such a condition can potentially be exploited to execute arbitrary code, making it a high-severity threat. To determine the Google Chrome version you're currently running, use the command sh Google-Chrome stable version. The recommended course of action to mitigate this vulnerability is to update Google Chrome to version 128.6613.84 or later. For more detailed information about this issue and the necessary updates, click on the provided More Info link. Now, let's discuss CVE 2024-8190. This vulnerability is an OS command injection flaw found in Avanti Cloud Services appliance, specifically in versions 4.6, patch 518 and earlier. The risk here is significant because it allows for remote code execution by attackers who have administrative privileges. Given the critical severity of this vulnerability, it's essential to update your Avanti Cloud Services appliance to the latest secure version to mitigate this threat. A practical example of an exploit command might look like this: using curl to execute an injected command via a post request to the target appliance's API. For more detailed guidance on the vulnerability and the update process, refer to the provided information in the More Info section. Promptly addressing this vulnerability is imperative to ensure your systems remain secure. Now, let's move on to CVE 2022-22965. This vulnerability affects Spring MVC or Spring Webflux applications running on JDK 9 and above. It enables remote code execution, posing a significant risk to systems. The impact is particularly severe if your application is deployed on Tomcat as a WAR file. This means that the vulnerability can be exploited via data binding, which could allow an attacker to execute unauthorized commands on your system. The severity of this vulnerability is classified as high, reflecting the considerable potential for damage. To mitigate this risk, you should ensure that your deployment is done as a Spring Boot executable jar. Alternatively, you can update your deployment to the latest secure version available. For more detailed information on this vulnerability and the steps to secure your system, please refer to the resources provided. Let's continue with the next topic now. CVE 2021-42278 relates to an elevation of privilege vulnerability found in Active Directory domain services. This vulnerability can be particularly concerning as it allows unauthorized users to escalate their privileges within a network. Given the high severity of this issue, it's important for administrators to take immediate action. A command you might use in this context is get-aduser-filter to filter and analyze affected Active Directory accounts. To mitigate this risk, ensure you apply the latest security patches provided by Microsoft. Always stay updated on security fixes to protect your systems effectively. For more detailed information, refer to the official security advisories. CVE 2024-3812 is a heap overflow vulnerability found in vCenter Server's DCRPC protocol. This vulnerability is particularly severe as it can potentially lead to remote code execution. Due to the critical nature of this flaw, it's paramount to take immediate action. Patch your vCenter server to the latest secure version to mitigate this risk. For further details on this vulnerability and the required patches, please use the provided More Info link. Now, we're going to examine CVE 2024-21060. This vulnerability exists in the data dictionary component of Oracle MySQL Server. Its impact is significant as it enables unauthorized actions that could lead to a denial of service DOS. The severity has been rated as high. To protect your systems, it is essential to update to the latest versions of Oracle MySQL. For further details, please refer to the resources provided. The current slide focuses on CVE 2024-7964, which highlights a significant vulnerability affecting Google Chrome on Android. This vulnerability, categorized as a use-after-free issue in the handling of passwords, can lead to heap corruption through a specially crafted HTML page. The severity of this vulnerability is assessed as high due to its potential to enable arbitrary code execution. To mitigate the risk, it's imperative to update Google Chrome on Android to version 128.6663.84 or later. Keeping software updated to the latest version is a key step in maintaining security. For further information, you can refer to the additional resources provided. CVE 23447 is a critical vulnerability that involves remote code execution in shim, a key component involved in the boot process of systems. The vulnerability arises due to parsing issues in HTTP responses during the early boot phase, which could lead to a complete system compromise if exploited. For successful exploitation, an attacker would require either a man-in-the-middle (MITM) position or the ability to compromise the boot server. The severity of this vulnerability is classified as critical, given the potential for full system control by an attacker. To mitigate the risks associated with CVE 2023-40547, it is essential to ensure that your boot server is secure and that shim is regularly updated. Prioritizing these actions can significantly reduce the likelihood of exploitation and subsequent system compromise. For more detailed information, please refer to the official advisories and resources provided. In our conclusion, it's clear that regular updates and patch management play an essential role in maintaining your system's security. Always stay informed about the latest vulnerabilities to mitigate potential risks effectively. Implement industry best practices to keep your system secure and resilient against threats. For this segment, we'll be looking at some valuable references to help you stay informed and implement best practices for mitigating security risks. Firstly, SOS Intelligence offers CVE Chatter Weekly, which keeps you updated on the latest vulnerabilities. CrowdStrike provides a Patch Tuesday analysis that delves into the details from the monthly patch updates. Moving on, Ubuntu details specific vulnerabilities, such as CVE 2024-39494, helping you understand the specifics of each issue. Lastly, Arctic Wolf gives a comprehensive review with their September Patch Tuesday summary. Each of these resources is instrumental in assisting you with regular updates and patch management practices.